Tourist Trap.
Alright everybody, welcome to another horror review. My name is Mr. Hat, of course. It's right there. And today we're going over Tourist Trap. It came out in 1979. It's written and directed by David Schmoller, and it's Schmoller, I think it's a German name. And it stars Tanya Roberts from the Charlie's Angels films and that 70s show. I don't know her in anything else. I didn't recognize anybody else in this movie. Just a slightly unique late 70s horror movie. Lots of creepy imagery and atmosphere. And let's get into it. What do I like about this movie? Well, what I like about this movie is Tanya Roberts. I just like to see a familiar face in movies. It's not a necessity, but you get a little bit bonus points with me if I recognize people. Tanya Roberts is in this. I automatically recognize her from that 70s show. And she sounds the same. Like 20 years before that 70s show, in this movie, she sounds the same. She's got that voice. It's so recognizable. Probably my favorite scene in this movie is when that guy, Woody, he just walks to this gas station and he enters. He's looking for someone to help him because his tire's flat, and he goes in this back room, the door's shut. All this shit's like flying off the shelves, everything's rattling. And all these mannequins just like fly through the window. There's mannequins in the corner. There's mannequins coming out of the closet. They're laughing. They got that Ripperoo laugh from Crash Bandicoot. Just laughing over and over again. The score gets real intense. And it's like he can't get out. And all of a sudden this pole just like stabs right through his gut. And all of a sudden the score just goes silent. Like the score is like very active in this movie. And then when people die, it just goes silent and flat. Just like there's no noise. And the only thing you can hear in this part is the blood dripping out of the pipe that went in. So it's like all this blood just dripping. That's all you hear. I thought it was very effective because if the score just kept going and you heard him like scream, it'd be a completely different scene. But the fact that the score went away, I thought that was interesting, like very unique. You don't see that in many horror movies where someone dies and all of a sudden there's like no noise at all. But it's an interesting scene too because that just tells you right off the bat that this isn't a typical slasher. There is some supernatural shit going on here, and that's what you do find out. Is like this killer, he has telekinesis, and I think he's telepathic. Like he can see what the mannequins can see, and I'll get into it later. But I think it's not said out loud, but I'm pretty sure he can see through their eyes. Like it's like a conduit for his sight. Like he can see through their eyes or something. Makes no sense. But just go along with it, I guess. The killer in this movie, he has this very interesting mask. It's almost like it's two masks in one. He wears like a mannequin face, but he has like a separate mannequin jaw thing. You can kind of see his mouth underneath it. And he's got like these dark eyes, and it's got this weird, gruffly, like, deep voice. I can't do it myself, but he's got interesting, creepy voice. It can make or break the film for you if you don't like the voice, if you don't like the mask. But I think it's a decent mask. I mean, he's got a mannequin face, and mannequins are pretty creepy. And that's another thing I like about this movie, is that this movie really uses mannequins to its advantage. It knows how to create good imagery, creepy imagery, and it does it a ton. Like, you see mannequins in almost every single scene. There's a shit ton of them. And it kind of makes you wonder, like, are all these mannequins dead people and victims from, like, previous tourists? Because as soon as a couple people die, you automatically see them, like, a few minutes later, like, as mannequins. He kills people and he turns them into mannequins that he can, like, work and operate with his mind. So he can move mannequins with his mind. Why wouldn't he just, like, move the corpse? Can he move corpses with his mind? That would have been interesting. It could turn this into, like, a zombie film. If her dead friends, Molly's friends, were, like, walking corpses. But I don't know, they didn't go that route. He just turns them into mannequins. So it kind of has that House of Wax vibe to it, because I think the original did this too. I know the remake does this. I'm not sure what they changed from the original, but they kill people and they wax them over and they make them wax sculptures. But in this one, he literally somehow just, with his magic, takes their outer shell, puts plaster over them, but like makes them look like mannequins. Like even inside, there's a guy, he rips his arm off. And I'll get to that later because that's like a twist. But he's just a full-on mannequin. I don't know how he does it. So you have to stretch your imagination for this film. But yeah, just the atmosphere alone in this movie. I like, it's got that cliche like fog in the background. Whenever there's like a horror movie and they're outside at night, they always have to use like a lot of lighting, but they just like have like all this fog in the background. It's like it's always foggy in horror movies, but I like it. It just adds more atmosphere. Another scene I like is when he's doing the process of making these people mannequins. He puts this plaster over this girl's face. And I don't know if he's responsible for what happens, but I kind of think he is. He tells this girl as he's putting plaster on her face, like all this like foam and stuff, whatever it is. I guess it's just plaster. And he's like, it's going to get very hot. and he covers her nostrils, and he's like, "You're not even gonna get a chance to suffocate because your heart's gonna explode from fright." And all of a sudden, you hear the heart beat really fast, and then just stops as she stops moving. That is just creepy to me because I'm like claustrophobic. That would be the worst way to die. It's just to be smothered on your face. Everything's just covered. You got your eyes covered in plaster. The only thing left is like your two nostrils. And all of a sudden, just bloop, you're out. Cover the nostrils, you're gone. You got like 2 minutes tops. For me, like 30 seconds because I can't hold my breath for shit. I'd be dead very quickly. But her heart just stops. And it's like, how did he know that would happen? Because he says it before it. Like, he's like, your heart's going to stop. Your heart's going to explode. Does it? It makes me ask questions. Like I said earlier, with like the whole telepathic thing, like, can he see through the mannequin's eyes? Because these victims, they go into these rooms and all the mannequins, their eyes turn and like follow them, like the Mona Lisa. You walk by the Mona Lisa, it looks like her eyes are following you. That's what happens with like all these mannequins. The eyes start moving creepily towards the victims, and he's not even, the killer's not even in the same room. So how does he know they're in there? Therefore, he has to somehow see what they're seeing, these mannequins. This movie actually has a couple neat twists. It makes you think this overall dude is clearly the killer, and then it's like, no, he has a brother that lives no, he has like this weird guy next door that lives there. Maybe he's the killer, and he says like his brother went to like the city to do wax museums, but that was all just a lie. He killed his wife and brother, and I saw that coming, and I'll get into that in my negatives. There's some things where I was like, yeah, of course, that's the story direction. I saw that coming, but I like that he was actually the killer the whole time, like, as the brother, and he has like this split personality thing going on. He's like, whenever he wears like a certain mask, he becomes like a certain person. Like, he becomes like his 6-year-old self when he's like playing with these dolls. Very creepy, like very Norman Bates like shit in this movie. We get a Friday the 13th Part 4 kind of moment in this movie where that dog Gordon just jumps out the window like, fuck this. This guy in this movie named like Jerry or something, he's like face to face with the killer, and he's like, fuck this, and he just jumps out the window. He couldn't get out of it before, but he's like, fuck it, and he just jumps right through the window. It's like, that's awesome, because that's what I would do. If I can't open the window, I'm jumping through it. I don't care how far down the ground is below. I'm not letting the killer get the satisfaction of killing me. I'm killing myself. And then we get Becky, played by Tanya Roberts. She gets a knife thrown at the back of her head, and it just like slowly kills her. So it doesn't kill her right away, and she's like bleeding out. I thought that was it's the most gory death in this movie. This movie's not gory. You know, it's very late 70s, like Halloween. It came out around the time of Halloween, Black Christmas, so it's not gory. It's not 80s gore fest. This movie's tame, and that could be a huge negative if you're a gorehound. And then we find out that Jerry, after he jumped out that window, he got captured at some moment and became a mannequin. I thought that was a great twist, because at this point you're like, holy shit, he's just messing with Molly. Because Jerry, he comes through the door acting like he's not a mannequin. He's like pointing the gun or a hatchet or something at Slausen, the bad guy, like, you know, where are the others? But he's saying what Slausen's making him say. So it's like he's just putting on a show for Molly, which means he's just having fun. He's just psycho. I do find it kind of funny, like, it's clearly a real person, but then as soon as he goes to take like Jerry's head off, it becomes like a mannequin head. So clearly a fake. Like, in between shots, it's like, okay, it's a real person. No, it's a mannequin. No, it's a real person again. Even like that one scene where Molly's being fed water by a mannequin. It's a mannequin, and then it's a real person giving her water, and then she goes back into the shadows, and it's a mannequin again. It's so clear that it was not really a mannequin feeding her water. It was a person, just like Jerry was a person when he walked in. But I can't blame this movie too much for that. I mean, it's the late 70s. Technology, they have CGI and stuff. They can't make mannequins do shit that they want them to do, so they have to hire real people. I'm not sure where Slausen had time to make Jerry a mannequin and why he even did it. Like, he went, as soon as he jumped out the window and went like that way, Molly went this way, and he chased Molly. He never went after Jerry, so where he had time to do that, I'm not sure. And I like the ending of this movie. It's okay. It's weird. It makes you go, what? Wow. Okay, that's different. Basically, it's kind of reminiscent of Friday the 13th Part 3. You could make theories on it. What I took from it is that Molly's basically insane. I don't think she made it out of there mentally. She is just gone, because as soon as she takes out Slausen, she screams no. And I was like, does she regret killing him? Does she like him for some reason? No, she's just like, no. You know, it's all over, and now all my friends are dead. But she drives away with all her mannequin friends in the backseat of her car, and she's like smiling. She has a full-on smile on her face. But I like that there's no evil lives on. The killer's dead. He's not coming back from the grave. He's not like, sticking his arm out of the grave like Carrie. He's not coming back for one last scare like Jason. He's dead. Like Cropsy dead. But you could argue, it's like, does Molly basically take those mannequins because she wants to do the same thing? Is she like going to be insane too? Is she going to take these mannequins to her house to be her family and do what the killer was doing? Is she insane? Or does she just want to give them a proper burial? I don't know. But it's an interesting ending, and I like it. It ends on like a freeze frame. Very like late 70s, early 80s shit right there. Just freeze frames. You don't see that in modern day movies no more. Freeze frames. Like Cropsy. The Burning. Oh god. I gotta review that movie at some point. I got a lot to say about that movie. Might be controversial, my opinion on it, but they use a freeze frame, still image of a victim in that movie. But yeah, whatever. Alright, what don't I like about this movie? Well, I'm not crazy about the score. The score is hit and miss for people. Some people like it. It's got this very off-putting, wacky, cartoonish score at the beginning and at the end. Some weird moments that kind of, I think it's only in this movie like twice. But at the beginning, like when you stick this movie in and you're like, alright, this is a horror movie. Let's do this. And then you hear that score, you're like, wait, what am I watching again? You almost want to take the disc out and look at it like, this is Tourist Trap, right? A horror movie? It's that weird. And you could argue like, oh, it's supposed to be weird because the movie itself is kind of wacky and weird. But to me, it doesn't set the right tone for what we see. All the imagery, all the atmosphere, it doesn't match it. And even when like there's like these chase sequences going on in the score, it's not that wacky shit no more. It's like an actual horror score. It's just kind of like overblown. It's like hyperbolic. It's like balls to the wall loud. And it's like there's not that much going on. I feel like the score was just like I said, just like, it could have been done better, but it was just like hyperbolic at moments, so loud, so crazy. It's like there's really not that much going on. She's kind of like running through the woods. It doesn't have to be like, it was just like, it wasn't that good of a score. It's okay, but I wasn't a fan of it. And holy crap, okay, the biggest problem at the very beginning, as soon as this movie, like, the credits end at the beginning, the opening credits, and like the picture pops up and the movie starts, it's like, holy fuck, this better not be how the whole movie looks, because this Blu-ray transfer, remastered high definition, my ass. Oh my god. Like, it scared me. That first few, like, minutes, I was like, is this how the whole film's gonna look? It almost made me want to turn it off. This movie's so grainy and pixelated as fuck. It looks like it's a horrible VHS at some moments. At some other moments, you get used to it and it's not as bad. But when they're out in the daylight, which is odd, usually nighttime is where it gets more grainy and nasty looking. But this movie, when it's daytime, that guy's rolling the tire, he's outside, it's so nasty. It is not a Blu-ray transfer. So this is not Blu-ray. It's not a good Blu-ray, at least. It's pretty terrible. Like the screen jitters. Like it shakes and it's like the screen's vibrating at some moments. Like here and there, like it just keeps coming and going. Like the screen will like shake just a little bit. And it's like, what's going on? It's the guy holding the camera like shaking. Or is it just the Blu-ray transfer that caused it? I don't know. Another problem I have with this movie, and I know I shouldn't harp on this in any horror movie because it's just part of the formula. This movie's trying to be formulaic. Not really. But other movies especially. But this one is just like, the characters, they're not relatable, they're not memorable. I had a hard time remembering their fucking names. I didn't even know the main final girl's name. Till like the end of the movie, I was like, oh, what's her name again? Molly? It's like, they're not memorable at all. Like, they don't have any, like, characteristics where it's like, this one's this person, this one's that person. It's kind of like they're all these random people thrown into this situation just to die. And I don't even know where the fuck they're going. I don't know what state or city they're in. It might have gotten said at the beginning when I was too distracted looking at that horrible Blu-ray transfer. Like, oh my god, this is ugly. And then maybe they say, like, we're in Mexico going to such and such for a tourist. We're tourists. I don't know where they were at. Are they tourists? And what's the trap? They just kind of get stuck in a bad situation. It's not really a trap. So it's a weird name for a movie. Doesn't make sense. Are they tourists? I don't think they are. Where are they going? I don't know. Who are they? I don't know. They're just teenagers. And they just get thrown in this bad situation and now they're dying. They're just not memorable at all. They're beautiful, which brings me to my next negative. We got these 3 girls. One of them's a Charlie's Angel, Tanya Roberts. Their car breaks down. I have to assume that was Slausen doing it because we established that he can break things with his mind, move shit. So I can assume that maybe he broke down the car because he's there like that when they go skinny dipping. But these three girls go skinny dipping. The car breaks down. They're like, all right, fuck it, let's walk into the woods a little bit. And they come across this like waterfall, nice little lake area, like a pond almost. It's not that big, but it looks beautiful. So they go in, they get naked. And the little house on the prairie girl, Molly, her outfit looks like she's like from the 1700s or some shit, or 1800s, whatever. I don't know that much about history and fashion. But she's just like all hesitant about it, and then all of a sudden she's naked. They're all naked, and we don't see any nudity in this movie. There's no nudity. You call this a slasher film? That's bullshit. No gore, no nudity. You give me three beautiful actresses. You hire three beautiful actresses. You make two of them dress sexy. They got like these low cut like tops that just, there's no like, it's not like a shirt or anything. It's just like, just all cleavage. And they get in this water. You write a scene where three girls have to get naked for the fuck of it, even though one of their guy friends is literally right over there who can come by any moment. It's not something that normal girls would do, so it's just like a guy-written thing. They're naked, and we don't get to see their tits at all? Get the fuck out of here. And then another thing I noticed, because I'm a stickler for these things, I'm like trying to find mistakes because I'm an asshole. But just like in Jaws of Revenge, they get out of the water, they got their clothes on. They didn't have towels, so they put their clothes over their wet body. Their clothes aren't wet, their skin's not wet, and their hair is completely dry. You have to call bullshit on that, alright? It's bullshit. I like how in a couple moments in this movie, like, the final girl or some girl would, like, hit the killer very lazily and slowly with, like, a mannequin arm. It's like, bah! And then he just passes the fuck out like he just got, like, a wallop. Poosh! Just like, poosh! Oh! Knocked out cold. Really? She barely touched you, my man. And that girl who gets plaster on her face, she's just a random victim just thrown there. Like, she got captured off screen, like, on the same day as these other people. And she is just, like, giving up. We don't see her journey to that moment and those emotions, how she got there. But when Tanya Roberts is in the basement with her, she's tied up too. This girl on the table, some random person who ran out of gas, she just does not care. She's like, we're all gonna die. Yeah. And I just don't care. But then as soon as the plaster gets on her face, she starts caring just a little bit more. She's like, no! It's like, wow. So now you care about dying? You didn't care before. Just like, we're all gonna die. I don't know how to act scared. Was she written to be that way? It was just like, is she a bad actress? Or is that the way she's supposed to be portraying her character? Because she did not care at all. In the story direction for the killer, all his like background information, as soon as, right before they were about to be set, I was like predicting it like a few minutes before, like, oh, this is where they're going. This happens. Like, oh, really? The killer killed his brother and wife? As soon as I saw that wife mannequin in his shop, I was like, how much would I bet he fucking killed her? And he killed her. And then I was like, how much you want to bet Molly kind of reminds him of her? Yep, Molly reminds him of her, and that's why he's keeping her alive to be last, and why he won't just kill her right away. So it was like all these story directions that I was like, yeah, that's predictable. It wasn't very new. There could have been more twists, different directions, more unique, but this movie is still unique in some aspect. You don't see too much shit like this. The guy who's telepathic. I don't know any other telepathic and telekinesis like powered villains other than Carrie, but she's not telepathic. She can't see through mannequin eyes like this guy can. He clearly can. Which brings me to another point I want to make, which is at the end, he's just dancing with this wife mannequin of his for a god-awful amount of time, just over and over and over again, spinning in circles, clearly fucking insane. And Molly he gives her all this time to pick up an axe and just stab him, right in the neck, kills him. But clearly he should have seen it coming, right? Because all the other mannequins in the room, they stare at Molly about to kill their master. If they're his master, maybe, I don't know. It's confusing. Because he can also throw voices, too. Like, he can throw his voice, he can sound like different people, he can make these mannequins have these victims' voices in it, which I thought that was kind of cool. Again, stretch your imagination, but it's still cool. It's there to be, like, a horror element. But they didn't warn him. He didn't see her sneak up with that axe. Why was he dancing for 45 fucking seconds in a circle with his eyes closed like an idiot? All the other mannequins, their heads turn, they're like screaming like, no, she's about to kill you, Slausen. And he doesn't take that warning? So is he telepathic? I think he is, but he clearly didn't give a fuck in that moment if he died. But then as soon as the axe goes in, he's kind of surprised by it, so it's just like confusing. It really is. It's just like some lazy writing. And then the last little thing I want to point out is when the final girl, Molly, she's driving away with her friends, only like 2 of the 4 mannequins look like her friends, and the other 2 don't. They're just random people. The one in the front seat, I think, is supposed to be Jerry, but if you just watched the movie 3 minutes before that, he took Jerry's head off and smashed it to bits on the ground. So how does Jerry have his head? That can't be Jerry, unless they completely fucked up. That could be an option. Maybe that is what happened, but that can't be Jerry in the front seat of the car because his head's bits. So yeah, that's just the last thing I want to point out. But yeah, overall, I enjoyed this movie some. It's okay. It's not a great movie. I won't watch it too much. So therefore, when it comes to Tourist Trap, this is a classic slasher that maybe is, if you haven't seen it yet, is maybe just worth watching once. So check it out if you can at Redbox. My favorite kill is going to go to Tanya Roberts, aka Becky, who gets the knife thrown at the back of her neck by the Indian mannequin. It's a very effective scene. I like it. She just slides down with all the blood gushing out of her neck. It's probably the only bloody kill in this entire movie, and that's why it's my number one. And my least favorite kill is going to go to the girl who just gets her throat strangled by a ribbon that she put around her neck. The killer uses telekinesis powers to strangle her with it. And those are my thoughts on Tourist Trap. Have you seen this 1979 original? Let me know what you thought about it in the comments below. If you have this Blu-ray transfer, is there a better cut transfer of it? DVD maybe might be better. Let me know. I'd be interested to see if those are better. But let me know what you thought about this movie in the comments below. And as always, if you enjoyed this video, you can hit this like button over here to show me how much you liked it. And you can support this channel and become a subscriber today. I highly recommend you do that by clicking on my cartoon face in about 5 seconds to see more. And until next time, I'll see you soon.